Hello there, and welcome to my channel Novice Modelling in the Midlife Crisis. My name is Andy, and this week, in the run-up to my 6-month anniversary of being a YouTuber, I'm going through some of my favourite kits from my rather mountainous stash. So today we're going to be looking at this ICM model kit number 35535, which is a Packard 12 model 1936 World War II Soviet leaders car with passengers. I got this one a long time before I actually started YouTubing, and it's kind of one of the kits that I looked at and went, oh my god, this is really, this modelling malarkey is really difficult. And I started to basically do videos building Spitfires in 15 minutes. So that's the basic history behind this particular kit. So we're going to do basically what we normally do, which is a quick look at the instructions, a little look at the history, and then a look at the parts and what have you. So basically the little part that ICM provide here is the Packard 12 passenger car was designed in the beginning of the 30th. That doesn't make any sense. It became the top of the Packard company model range. This car had V-shape 12-cylinder engine of 175 horsepower. Car series 14 were in production lines since 1936, doesn't make much sense. Some autos with 144-inch wheelbase, series 1408, had closed 7-seated limousine bodies. Several of these machines were purchased for Soviet Special Purpose Garage, which served the government. The Packard 12 car, US Special Order armoured, was used during the Second World War by Joseph Stalin. Now, if you have a quick look on internet about Stalin and his car obsession, it did seem that they actually had around about the Soviet hierarchy actually had about 70 Rolls Royces, and Stalin was actually a bit of a car head. He was actually given it's kind of difficult because some sources say one thing and some sources say another. It says that Roosevelt gave him a gift of a Phaeton Standard 8 Packard in 1935 or 1936, which was painted white, and then it was repainted in black. The car actually still exists apparently, and is currently in restored mint condition, and is painted, I think, silver. I've seen a picture of. Again, there's kind of varying sort of stories on the internet about this, so I'm just going to leave it at that and say I've had a quick look. There are various stories about it, and nothing really seems to quite 100% gel with each other. But anyway, it does appear that the Soviet hierarchy did actually order a number of Packards from the States, which I find kind of ironic, since, you know, Bolshevism and capitalism aren't really supposed to go. And here we go, the leader of the Bolshevik, the leader of the communist nation of the Soviet Union, is driving around in a bourgeoisie American limousine Packard. So anyway, that's enough of that. Let's have a quick look at the instructions that we get with this. As you can see, we get a full diagram of the sprues that we're supposed to actually have with the kit. We move on with, which is the way most cars and vehicles seem to go, is we start with the engine. And we start assembling the engine like so, and there's quite a lot of pieces going on this. Obviously we've got a fan belt here, we've got the actual fan blade, and we've got various small pieces to attach to the engine itself. We then move on to the assembly of this subframe, the chassis I suppose you could call it, and then the assembly of these wheels, which are sort of multi parts that go together, 2 outsides, 3 sort of inners, and the actual hub itself. It's quite an interesting way, but it seems to me a slightly complicated way of doing it, but that's obviously how these things are designed. In section 9 we put the chassis, the engine and the wheels together, and then in section 11 we start having a look at the actual body of the car itself. Now it's kind of an interesting choice because ICM have decided to do the cabin, if you like, in 2 pieces to be joined together, so that obviously causes some concern for, you know, for someone like me with actually putting this together and getting a good seam line on it. Then we get this partition, I think this is between the driver and the passengers. We then move on to section 13, where we start putting some of our seats and some of our glazing in onto the actual body, and then we attach it to the floor pan, and obviously we're going to put the dashboard, the grille and the bumpers on as well. When we've completed all the inner section, we then put the completed body on top. And section 16, we start applying these other sections. The rear bumper goes on, these lights are going on, this section here that goes underneath the doors go on, and then eventually we mount the two pieces together. Section 18 and 19 focuses on our doors, our steering wheel, which seems to go in after the body has been put together, which seems a little bit illogical, but there we go. Then we're going to put the bonnet on. Section 20, we're going to put our door section onto the body, and then we're going to put the various extra parts on the rear, including this, I think this is like a luggage grill or something that you can fold down, and then we have the number plate and the rear lights. And in the end, we'll end up with something like this, where we're just going to put a few little bits on, like these door handles and wing mirrors, and this looks like a number plate. And hopefully we'll end up with something like that, with rather nice looking white-walled wheels, white-walled tyres, and some chrome effects obviously on the bumpers and the grille and the hood ornaments, which is I can't remember, it's something anyway. Incidentally, as a side note to this, I mean, this car, I recognise this car from a film called Empire of the Sun, starring a rather young and precocious Christian Bale, and I believe this is the same car that's actually used in the film. Now, it's a swan on the hood ornaments that's actually used in the film, and is actually used as Jim's car, which is Jim's dad's car, which is the Christian Bale character. So there's just a little bit of pop culture for you. So we'll start off looking at the actual sprues, and as we can see, this is possibly the slightly most interesting sprue of all. Here we have these two sections of the body, which causes me a little bit concerned that I'm going to have to stick them together. Obviously, it's potential for a nasty seam line, but I suppose we can just sand that down if we do have a problem. The actual bonnet here, you can see these sort of grills that are on here. This is the internal partition between the driver's seat and the rear passenger compartment. These are the doors. Obviously, we can see sort of hints of the hinges here, and this sort of raised part here as well. This is the floor pan of the car with its sweeping lines for its what are these called? These things. I know what these things are called, but the wings. There we go. Sometimes words just don't come out when you do these. Here we have the front grille, which is painted in chrome with some black. Not too sure what that part is. This is the rear luggage rack, which folds down, I believe. Here we have the rear wings and these side parts, which go up here. We now have two sprues, which are identical, and these are basically covering the wheels. And as we can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is that? 5, 6 sections to complete a wheel. This part of the tyre actually goes on. It's seems very complex to me, but obviously there's a reason for this. Let's get a little bit closer on the detail there, so you can see the actual ridges of the tyre. And there are the hubcaps. I'm thinking the hubcaps go on. Oh, that's the rear of the wheel, and these hubcaps go on here. Yeah, it's quite a complicated wheel structure, that. Quite interesting. We've got some suspension bars here. Now moving on to our final sprue. Here we can see the dashboard. That's part of the radiator, I think. Here we have the, is that the inner door? That's going to be the inner door. We've got the outer doors here. Oh yeah, so there's the outer door section. And this is the inner door, so these are like the door cards that you can see. And obviously this is little holes here for handles and what have you. And this is the inner door section, or the inner rear section. So it's quite nice that you actually get an inner and an outer. So I suppose it makes it reasonably easy, I guess, to paint this up. It seems to be done in a sort of crimson, sort of dark. I'm guessing it's going to be a dark sort of maroon colour on the inside, the leather work. Here we have the steering rack. Here we have the bumpers, front and rear. We can see the seats with these lines on them to represent plushness, I suppose. We have our exhaust system there. And I'm guessing that this is part of the engine. Yeah, there's two parts there, one here, one there, and there the engine. That's going to be the top of the engine. And then we have a whole bunch of other mechanicals. This looks like the drive shaft, and here's our steering wheel. So they're the main sprues. And we then move on to the clear plastic section, which is this particular one here. And what can I say about that? Not a lot. That's appears to be the swan hood ornament, which goes on the front there to be painted in sort of chrome, I imagine. And we have a variety of other sort of side windows and the front and the rear windscreen. We also get our decal sheet. Now, I'm not exactly certain what the two number plates represent, but I'm kind of going to guess maybe Starling had two cars. Don't know. Or maybe one of them is Starling's and one of them is another official Packard that was in the motor pool at the time. These little red sections here, incidentally, these are the hubcap covers, which is kind of nice. We do appear to have speedometers as well, speedos and gauges for the dashboard. And our final sprue is Soviet leader's car with passengers. So here are our Starling and the gang. This is actually available as a separate kit. I forget the actual kit number of it. Oh, sorry, 35613. So this is actually a separate kit that ICM do, which you get with this particular one. I think you can actually buy this without the passengers as well. So in here we actually get Starling, we get Molotov, we get Beria, Khrushchev. I'm familiar with all these names. We also get a guy called Vlazchik. I think he is some sort of military guy, because we have two military guys. I'm pretty sure that one there is Molotov. Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Anyway, we get Starling here. I'm not too sure who these two guys are. I originally thought this was Zhukov, to be honest with you. I'm going to have as a guess that that's Molotov and that's possibly Beria. And these two maybe Khrushchev and Vlazchik. It doesn't actually say who is who, but that's the one that I recognise. So these are all quite nicely detailed. I mean, obviously the faces on them have to be sort of representative of the figure themselves. And I'm going to hazard a guess that this figure here is Starling, because you can see his face with his rather famous moustache going on and his swept back hair. So the detail on the uniforms is crisp. You can pick out a lot of detail on there. We've actually got a medal going on up here. Buttons, creases on the actual tunics. We can see creases on these rather long, ill-fitting trousers. We've got some jack boots here, which we can see. This one here appears to have some lines going down the trousers, so this is going to be one of the military guys. And again, there's good detail on these two who are wearing just your standard sort of tie and suit. Both appear to be slightly different, which is quite nice. So hands again, the cuffs seem very long, so that's obviously a Russian sort of style. And we have a variety of hats, both military and civilian. So there we go. That's my little kit review done. Like I said, I'm actually doing a few of my favourite kits at the moment. I did the German leader's car with the unmentionable Austrian yesterday. You don't actually get the unmentionable Austrian with the kit, for pretty obvious reasons, I suppose. And I'll be doing a few other ones in the run-up to my sort of 6-month anniversary over the next couple of days. So please do like and subscribe. Please do have a look at the rest of my 135 playlist. There will be a link in the description box, which is kind of underneath the picture, and you can go and have a look at some of the other kits that I've reviewed. So thanks again for watching, and I'll be seeing you with another review tomorrow. Be seeing you.